Elon Musk just embarrassed NASA with SpaceX's high-tech suit. What if we told you that the new SpaceX spacesuit has got an umbilical connection with the crew's Dragon seat, making the suit a part of the spacecraft rather than something that would protect the astronauts from depressurization? But why exactly do you need an umbilical connection for a spacesuit? And why is this new spacesuit so exciting? Well, we got all the answers for you. The very first spacesuits were developed back in the 1950s, and these were adaptations from the kind of suits worn by high-altitude aircraft pilots. Of course, the early prototypes were less than ideal. There were so many problems with the suits because the early versions of the spacesuits had problems like lack of visibility from helmets. The gloves were some of the most uncomfortable components of the earlier versions of spacesuits. They were too stiff to handle delicate tools, and sensitive fingertip control was sacrificed. The astronauts were also at risk of puncturing their spacesuit as a result of wear and tear. Astronauts also found it very difficult to move around in the earlier versions of the spacesuit. They also had to deal with bruises or bleeding fingers because the glove material around the finger happened to be the thinnest component of a spacesuit's cladding, and a spacewalk would also expose the astronauts to extreme cold temperatures. In February 1995, Michael Foale and Bernard Harris had to be called back inside prematurely as they lost their fingers to frostbite. Astronauts used to experience extreme temperatures inside sealed spacesuits because of the not-so-comfortable ventilation systems inside the suit. Fast-forwarding to the present day, SpaceX is doing great things when it comes to space exploration with their reusable rockets. This is the reason why today there's a lot of competition in the aerospace industry, even though SpaceX is leading the aerospace industry with their reusable rockets and their Starlink satellite internet service. The costs of launching satellites into orbit are much lower than ever before because of SpaceX. If you think SpaceX is just about reusable rockets, then you're wrong. Elon Musk just embarrassed NASA with SpaceX's high-tech suit. The spacesuits worn by the astronauts have been the biggest talking point about the Crew Dragon spacecraft. This new outfit is a great departure from the previous design, but the main purpose still remains the same, which is to protect the crew members from depressurization, an event where air is lost from the capsule. The suit is one huge part of the bigger Dragon system, because when the astronauts strap themselves to the seat, they plug in an umbilical line from their suits into a port on the seat. The umbilical line provides the suit with a life support system which also includes air and electrical connections. Now, for those of you who don't know, Elon Musk's SpaceX built the Crew Dragon primarily to carry astronauts to the International Space Station, and it was developed as part of NASA's plans to hand over space station flights to American companies after depending on Russian launches for years now. For Elon Musk, affordable human spaceflight had always been the fundamental goal with his company SpaceX. It was on 30th May 2020 when the Crew Dragon spacecraft carried NASA astronauts Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken into the International Space Station. And it was also the very first crewed vehicle to fly from the US ever since the retirement of the Space Shuttle in 2011. The truth is, when the shuttle program ended, NASA did not have any immediate replacement vehicle. This forced NASA to rely on Russia to fly American astronauts to the International Space Station. That's exactly why SpaceX and Boeing worked on developing spacecrafts so that NASA can depend on American companies instead of Russia. So 30th May 2020 was a huge moment for the future of space travel, and also for SpaceX because of the successful launch of SpaceX's Falcon 9 orbital rocket system that carried the Crew Dragon to the International Space Station. This was a very historic moment because NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley were carried in a privately developed spacecraft, which is also the very first time a private company carried astronauts to the International Space Station. But what's more exciting is that the mission also revealed the next-generation astronautical suits, and that happens to be the very new SpaceX spacesuit. But what is so special about the suit? You can clearly see NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley were wearing the new suit that's all white and it looks very well polished. Well, this happens to be the new SpaceX spacesuit. These new SpaceX spacesuits are single-piece units in white instead of the pumpkin orange color, and they are much lighter and easy to use than the bulky Space Shuttle launch suits that are known as the Advanced Crew Escape suits. The astronauts who flew the very first crew test flight of the SpaceX Crew Dragon also commented on how comfortable this new SpaceX suit is. When SpaceX was designing this new spacesuit, the most important part in the development process of the suit was to make it very easy to use, where astronauts literally plug in their suits to the seats when they sit down and the suit takes care of the rest. You get all kinds of latest and greatest technologies with the SpaceX suit, because the new spacesuit guarantees comfort and safety of the astronauts because of the fact that these are custom designed. The helmets of the suits are 3D printed and the gloves are touchscreen sensitive. The primary purpose of the spacesuit still remains the same despite its minimal design language, which is to protect the crew members from the depressurization, where air is lost in the capsule. The suit will also ensure that astronauts have sufficient oxygen while maintaining the internal temperature. The suit is also equipped with a communications link and breathable air provided via a single umbilical cable that plugs directly into the suit so that the suit takes care of the rest of the things. The gloves being touch-sensitive means that the touch screens inside the Crew Dragon can be easily accessed. So you could say that this suit is not just a piece of hardware, but it's a very personal thing for the astronauts because of the fact that it is a customized suit. So who exactly designed this new spacesuit that looks very futuristic? Well, you should give credit to Jose Fernandez of Ironhead Studio, who happens to be a movie costume designer whose portfolio includes Men in Black, Iron Man, Black Panther, and a few other movies as well, for designing SpaceX's new spacesuit design. Funny thing, Jose Fernandez actually believed that he was designing spacesuits for another movie production rather than an actual space program, and that clearly reflects in the design. The suit is also a part of the bigger Dragon system, because it is the part of the Crew Dragon because of the umbilical connection that the suit has with the entire system that we mentioned earlier. So the astronauts are already connected to the Crew Dragon with the umbilical connection. But are we connected? Well, to do that, all you need to do is to subscribe to our channel for more tech videos just like this one, and turn on post notifications to get notified about our future tech episodes. Drop a like for the video if you are excited about these new suits. If you want to know how advanced the new spacesuits are, you need to look at the long timeline of NASA spacesuits over 50+ years, and you need to compare that design of the past with SpaceX's design, and you will clearly notice that the new SpaceX spacesuits are offering astronauts greater mobility and comfort, which is important for any space mission. Keep in mind that these suits were designed for use inside the SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule, and these suits are not suitable for spacewalks. Comment down below if you want us to make a video on the previous NASA spacesuits. So what exactly is going to be the next big step for SpaceX? Well, you now know that SpaceX developed spaceflight suits for astronauts to wear while inside the rocket. But this suit won't be enough for SpaceX and NASA for the Artemis mission, which will be taking the first woman and a man of color to the surface of the moon after 50 years, ever since the last Apollo mission. So SpaceX needs to build a spacesuit for astronauts to be on the moon with additional requirements to protect the harsh conditions of outer space. Which is why Elon Musk is excited to develop NASA's new spacesuits, because without these suits, the goal of returning astronauts to the moon by 2024 would be almost impossible. We are looking at the new spacesuits that will cost about $1 billion in total through 2025. NASA's future mission to explore space is really important for us to know what lies beyond our own planet, and it might be the very first step for better space exploration missions in the future. Maybe Elon Musk will get humans to the moon, and we might establish human civilization on the Red Planet. But during the early days on Mars, humans will have to roam around in spacesuits, and it looks like this will be it.